Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarthak Bhatkar. Next slide, please. Our topic is Fourier transform. We are from SE Computers. Our team consists of Harsh Moradia, Janil Gopani, Purva Gusavi, Jeet Nakrani, Darshan Chanchar, and myself, Sarthak Bhatkar. Our project is compiled under the guidance of Dr. Tina Trivedi, ma'am. Okay, this is a little animation about Fourier transform. Explains uh, how frequency and time relations are there. Okay, next slide. So let's see the overview or the flow of the presentation. Firstly, there will be who is Fourier and what is Fourier transform, difference between series and transform. That consists of introduction. Next will be properties, different properties of Fourier transform, Fourier and its inverse, sine and its inverse, cosine and its inverse, and lastly the application. The next few slides will be spoken by my crewmate Harsh. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Good morning, Tina ma'am and my fellow friends. I am Harsh Morodia, serial number 62. As a second year student, today I am here to introduce my topic Fourier transform. Before starting this topic, I would like to introduce the person who had invented this topic, that is Joseph Fourier sir. So let's see shortly about him. So, Joseph Fourier studied the mathematical theory of heat conduction. He established the partial differential equation governing heat diffusion and solved it by using infinite series of trigonometric functions. The nationality French, and the best work Fourier number, series, transform, and greenhouse effect. Next slide, please. So the questions that comes in our everyone mind, why we are studying this topic Fourier transform and what is the need of this topic in syllabus. Wait, don't be panic. For this understanding Fourier transform topic, it will be better for us to understand the basic of Fourier series and the limitation of Fourier series. Next slide, please. Now, the Fourier series. Fourier series is used for periodic signals to expand into the sum of simple oscillating function. There are two types of signals. First, periodic signals and non-periodic signals. Fourier series used only periodic signals. There are two types of periodic signals. First, continuous time Fourier series and second discrete time Fourier series. Now we will see about the limitations or the condition of Fourier series. It must be periodic and single value, that is f of x in its time period. F of x should have finite value everywhere and should not be infinite in its time period. The function f of x should be continuous in its time period t, that is should not be discontinuous. So now to overcome these all limitations, there's we need a Fourier transform which use non-periodic signal, that is real life signal. Now introduction to the Fourier transform. Fourier transform is a mathematical tool for frequency analysis of signal. That is, Fourier transform can exist for three type of signal: energy signal, impulse signal, and power signal. Next slide, please. Now, this graph will be better understand will give a better understand for all of us. When we have a continuous time function and periodic function, we'll have Fourier series, that is in discrete spectra. And when we have periodic function and discrete time, we'll have discrete Fourier transform. And we'll see below, when we have continuous time function and aperiodic function, we have Fourier transform, that is in continuous spectra. And when we have aperiodic function and discrete time, we'll have discrete Fourier transform. Next slide, please. Now, the difference and the similarities between Fourier series and Fourier transform. Both the series and Fourier transform are the mathematical tool for representing in frequency signal in frequency domain. Now the main difference between Fourier series, that is Fourier series used for periodic signals, and Fourier transform mainly used for a periodic signal. Next slide. Now the conditions for the existence of Fourier series. There are three types of conditions. First, f of t should be absolute integrable. That is, the integration from minus infinity to infinity mod of f of t dt should be less than infinity. Second, the function must have finite number of discontinuous. Third, the function must have finite number of maxima and minima. And the last, that is the formula. F of s is equal to 1 upon 2 pi integration from minus infinity to plus infinity f of x e raised to isx dx. Now further will be explained by my friend Janil Gopani.
Good afternoon to Dr. Tina Trivedi and my fellow friends present over here. Myself, Janil Gopani, serial number 25 from SE Coms, going to present basic properties and theorem of Fourier transform. Before moving towards the topic, one thing should be clear to us is that all the transform properties remains the same, whether it's a Laplace or a Fourier transform. What changes is only the domain changes and the symbolic notation. So moving towards the first topic, the first property we have is linearity. Linearity means addition of two functions corresponding to the addition of two frequency spectrum is called the linearity. If you multiply a function by a constant, the Fourier transform of the resultant function is multiplied by the same constant. The Fourier transform of sum of two or more function is the sum of Fourier transform of a function. So here we have, if f of s and g of s are the Fourier transform of f of x and g of x, then the Fourier transform of sum of f of x and g of x is given by Fourier transform of a into f of x plus b into g of x is equals to a into f of s plus b into g of s, where a and b are constant. So here, proof. f1 of x and f2 of x are the two functions. When we multiply them with a constant a and b and then take a Fourier transform, we get a into f1 of s plus b into f2 of s, where f1 of s and f2 of s are the Fourier transform of f1 of x and f2 of x. Moving towards the second property, scaling or change of scale property. Scaling is the method that is used to change the range of the independent variable. If f of s is the complex Fourier transform of a function of x, then Fourier transform of function of a into x is equals to 1 by a Fourier transform of s by a. Proof. Fourier transform of function of a into x is equals to 1 upon under root 2 pi integration from minus infinity to positive infinity e raised to isx function of a into x dx. So further we substitute x is equals to t by a and dx is equals to dt by a. Remove 1 by a as constant, and by comparing with f of s, we get as 1 by a Fourier transform of s by a. Moving towards the next property is shifting property. F of s is the complex Fourier transform of function of x, then Fourier transform of function of x minus a is equals to e raised to isa Fourier transform of x, where a is a real number. Proof. Fourier transform of function of x minus a is equals to 1 upon under root 2 pi integration from minus infinity to positive infinity e raised to isx function of x minus a dx. So further we substitute x is equals to t plus a, dx is equals to dt. Remove e raised to isa as constant, and after comparing it with f of s, we get e raised to isa Fourier transform of s. Here the original function f of x is shifted by a constant amount. Moving towards theorem. Modulation theorem. F of s is the complex Fourier transform of a function of x, then Fourier transform of function of x into cos ax is equals to 1 by 2 Fourier transform of s plus a plus Fourier transform of s minus a. Proof. Fourier transform of function of x into cos ax is equals to 1 upon under root 2 pi integration from minus infinity to positive infinity e raised to isx function of x into cos ax dx. We know that cos ax is equals to e raised to iax plus e raised to minus iax upon 2. After splitting and comparing with Fourier transform of function of x into cos ax, we get 1 upon 2 Fourier transform of s plus a plus Fourier transform of s minus a. Next, moving towards the second theorem, which is one of the most important ones, convolution theorem. Convolution theorem states that under the suitable condition, the Fourier transform of a convolution of two signal is the pointwise product of their Fourier transform. In other words, convolution in one domain equals pointwise multiplication in other domain. Theorem. The Fourier transform of convolution of f of x and g of x is equal to the Fourier transform of f of x and g of x, where f of x into g of x is equals to integration from minus into positive infinity f of x into g of x minus u du, where f of s and g of s denotes the Fourier transform of f of x and g of x. You can also see in the graph. Result is Fourier transform of f of x into g of x is equals to f of s and g of s. So these were the basic properties and theorems in Fourier transform. Now the further topic will be explained by Purva.
Hello everyone, this is Purva Gosavi, serial number 27. As we have studied the Fourier series, difference between the Fourier series and the Fourier transform, its definition and its property. Now let's have a glimpse on the mathematical definition of the Fourier transform. If a Fourier transform, if a f of x is defined as minus infinity, comma infinity is a piecewise continuous in each interval is absolutely integrable in minus infinity and infinity, then integral is capital F of x is the Fourier transform and f of x is the function which we have given to take out the Fourier series of. The formula goes as capital F of x is equal to 1 by 2 pi integration from minus infinity to infinity f of x e raised to isx dx is called as the Fourier transform of f of x. Inverse Fourier transform. If f of capital F of s is the Fourier transform of f of x and if f of x satisfy the certain conditions in every infinite interval L to minus L and if integration from minus infinity to infinity f of mod x dx is convergent, then at every point of the continuity of f of x is equals to 1 by 2 pi integration from minus infinity to infinity capital F of x into e raised to minus isx ds. Now let's take a look at the sum. Find the Fourier transform of f of x for 1 for mod of x lesser than 1 and 0 for mod of x greater than 1. If we take and hence integration 0 to infinity sine x by x dx. Now let's take look at the first part. If we take the condition 1, if mod of x is positive, then and if mod of x is positive, then it is 1, and if mod of x is negative, then minus 1. The values between the minus 1 and the 1 will be remain 1 as per the condition number 1. As per the condition 2, we know that the values from the minus infinity to 1 will be 0 and 1 to infinity will be 0. By using the Fourier transform formula and on the basis of the number line, we can say that integration from minus infinity to minus 1 f of x e raised to isx dx plus integration from minus 1 to 1 f of x e raised to isx dx plus integration from minus 1 to infinity f of x e raised to iss dx. As per the number line, we can say the values from minus 1 to minus infinity is 0 and 1 to infinity is 0. We can write it as integration from minus 1 to 1 f of x e raised to iss. By integration, we get e raised to iss upon is with the limits of minus 1 to 1. We get it as e raised to iss minus e raised to minus is upon is. But we know that sine s is equals to e raised to is minus e raised to is upon 2i. So we get the Fourier transform as 2 sine s by s. Now, for solving the second part, By using the inverse Fourier transform formula, f of x is equals to 1 by 2 pi integration from minus infinity to infinity capital F of x e raised to minus ISS ds equal to, by substituting the Fourier transform value which we got from the previous one, by substituting it here, 1 by equal to 1 by 2 pi integration from minus infinity to infinity 2 sine s by s e raised to minus ISS upon ds. By cancelling out the 2's, we get in 1 by pi integration minus infinity to infinity sine s by s e raised to minus ISS ds. Now by putting the x as 0, we get f of 0 is equals to 1. 1 by pi integration minus infinity to infinity sine s dx. By shifting the pi on the other side, we get pi is equals to integration from minus infinity to infinity sine s by s ds. We can also write it as the limits uh, a goes to infinity integration from minus a to a sine s by s dx is equals to pi. Now we can also write it as twice of integration 0 to a sine s by s ds is equals to pi. Now shifting the pi 2 on the other side, we get integration from 0 to a sine s by s ds is equals to pi by 2, implying that we can also write it as integration from 0 to infinity sine s by s ds is equals to pi by 2. By using the change of variable, we can write it as integration from 0 to infinity sine s by x dx is equals to 2 pi. Here we complete the first and the second part of the question using the both formulas of a Fourier series, a Fourier transform, and inverse Fourier transform. The next part will be continued by the Jeet Nakrani.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Trina Trivedi ma'am and my friends present here. Myself, Jeet Nakrani, serial number 66, is present here to explain my topic on Fourier sine transformation. In mathematics, the Fourier sine and cosine transform are forms of the Fourier transformation that do not use complex numbers. They are the form originally used by Joseph Fourier sir and are still preferred in some applications such as signal processing or statistics. So, the infinite Fourier sine transform of the function of x in the range 0 to infinity is denoted by capital F of s is defined by f of s of s is equal to under root of 2 by pi in the integration 0 to infinity f of x sine sx dx. Here, capital F of s into s, which means that the subscript s is given by sine transformation of Fourier. Next slide. So, as we saw the formula based on it, so let's solve a sum based on it. Find the Fourier sine transform of f of x if f of x is equal to 0 for x greater than 0 and less than a, f of x is equal to x for interval a to b, and f of x is equal to 0 for x greater than b. So, Fourier transformation formula is under root of 2 by pi integration of 0 to infinity f of x sine sx dx. As we see in the question that there are three intervals from 0 to a to b, and from greater than b. So we divide into three intervals, and as we all know that for 0 to a and for greater than b limits, the value of f of x is 0. So we take only the interval that is from a to b, which is equal to under root of 2 by pi integration of a to b x sine s dx. So by UV rule, we know that x into integration of second, we get under root of 2 by pi x minus cos sx by s minus integration of minus cos x by s derivative of x, which is 1 dx, is equal to under root of 2 by pi minus x cos sx by s plus sin sx by s square in the limits b to a. So putting upon the limits, we get the final result as under root of 2 by pi minus b cos bs plus a cos as upon s plus sin bs minus sine as upon s square. So now we will see about what is inverse Fourier sine transformation. So in f of s is a Fourier sine transform of f of x which satisfies Dirichlet's condition in every infinite 0 to I, and if integration of 0 to infinity f of x dx exists at every point of the continuity of f of x, then f of x is equal to under root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity Fourier transformation of s sin ss dx, where f of x is called inverse Fourier sine transformation of s of x. There is no change in the formula of Fourier sine transformation and inverse Fourier sine transformation. Only the function part is shifted to the left and the Fourier transformation is shifted to the right. Let's solve a sum based on it. So we have got a sum like if Fourier sine transformation is given to us, that is e raised to minus as upon s. So we need to find f of x. Hence obtain the inverse Fourier sine transform of 1 by s. So by inverse Fourier sine transform definition, we know that function of x is equal to under root of 2 by pi integration of 0 to infinity Fourier transformation of s sin sx dx. So putting upon the function Fourier transformation value as e raised to minus as upon s, differentiating with respect to s, we get d by dx f of x on the left side, and on the right side we get a sin sx sin sx derivative we get as cos sx, and the constant term is remained as it is e raised to minus as upon s. So we know that integration of e raised to ax cos bx dx is equal to e raised to ax upon a square plus b square into a cos bx plus b sin x. Here in this sum, a is equal to minus a and b is equal to x. So putting upon the values and integrating them, we get under root of 2 by pi into 1 upon a square plus x square into e raised to minus as minus a cos sx plus x sin sx in the limits infinity to 0. So putting upon the limits, we get e raised to minus infinity as 0 and e raised to 0 as 1. So on solving that, we get under root of 2 by pi into a upon a square plus x square. Now integrating both sides, we get function of x is equal to under root of 2 by pi tan inverse of x by a plus c. So as we can see on equation number 1, which is on left hand side, we see that substituting x is equal to 0, we get the function of x is equal to 0 since sine 0 is 0, and substituting in the above equation, we get tan inverse is equal to 0, and hence c is equal to 0. So we finally get function of x is equal to under root of 2 by pi tan inverse of x by a. So to obtain inverse Fourier sine transformation of 1 by s, we put a is equal to 0 in the above result. In the question, we can see that e raised to minus as upon s is given. So for 1 by s, we need to put a is equal to 0, which means indirectly as 1 by s. So function of x is equal to under root of 2 by pi tan inverse of infinity. And we all know that tan inverse of infinity represents pi by 2. And by cancelling the terms out, we get function of x is equal to under root of pi by 2. Now further, Fourier cosine transformation will be explained by Darshan Chanchal.
So thank you, Jeet. Firstly, good afternoon to respected Tina ma'am and my fellow friends. Myself, Darshan Chanchal, roll number 7, second year student from Comms Department. I stand hereby to share your knowledge on Fourier transform. So basically, in the next few minutes, we are going to learn about cosine transform, inverse cosine transform, and some example based on it. So let's get started. As you see in the screen, the definition of cosine transform goes as the function f of s as defined by f of s equals to the integration in the limit 0 to infinite f of s cos sx dx is known as the Fourier cosine transform, whereas x lies in the range between 0 to infinite. Now we will see the example based on Fourier transformation. Next slide, please. So as you see in the screen, the question is given as find the Fourier cosine transformation of e raised to minus x square. So its solution is given by here f of x is equals to e raised to minus x square. By definition of cosine transform, we all know that f of s, which is equals to integration in the limit 0 to infinite f of x cos sx dx. By taking f of x equals to I and differentiating with respect to s, we get di by ds, which is equals to integration in the limit 0 to infinite e raised to minus x square minus sin sx dx. Now naming this equation as 1 and solving its subpart by taking integration x e raised to minus x square dx equals to I1, in which minus x square equals to t, and differentiating that, therefore we get minus 2x dx, which is equals to dtc, and therefore minus x dx, which is equals to dt by 2. Next slide please. By integration and putting the limits, we get di by ds, which is equals to 0 minus 0 minus s by 2 integration in the limit 0 to infinite cos x into e raised to minus x squared dx. Therefore, by solving, we get di by ds, which is equals to minus si by 2. By using separation of variable and integrating both the sides, we get integration di by I, which is equals to half integration x dx. We know that integration of 1 upon x is log x, so we have applied here. Therefore, we get log I equals to minus x square by 4 plus c. And we are very much clear by logarithm rule that log b to the base a equals to c. Therefore, it becomes b equals to a raised to c. By applying that, we get I equals to e raised to minus x square by 4 plus c, and naming this equation as 3, which is equals to I equals to e raised to minus s square by 4 into e raised to c. Now solving for e raised to c constant. So let that e raised to c equals to a. Therefore, we get I equals to e raised to minus s square by 4, and naming this equation as number 4. By putting s equals to 0 in equation 4, we get I equals to a. Therefore, I equals to a equals to integration in the limit 0 to infinite e raised to minus x square dx. Now, in this equation, taking x square is equals to c, therefore x equals to root t, and differentiating both the side, we get dt equals to dt by 2x equals to dt upon 2 root t. By putting this equation, by putting this value in equation, we get I equals to half integration in the limit 0 to infinite e raised to minus t into t raised to half minus 1 dt. As we are clear about gamma function, that is gamma n equals to integration in the limit 0 to infinite e raised to minus x square into x raised to n minus 1. By comparing this equation, we get n equals to half, and we know that gamma of half is root pi. Therefore, we get I equals to a equals to root pi by 2. By putting this constant value of a in equation number 3, we get final answer I equals to root pi e raised to minus x square by 4 by 2. Now we'll see inverse cosine transformation. Next slide, please. So basically, cosine inverse transform and inverse and cosine transform are same. The f of x and capital F of x are interchanged. So its definition goes as the function f of x as defined by f of x equals to under root 2 by pi integration in the limit 0 to infinite f of s cos sx dx is known inverse cosine transformation of f of s. Now we'll see the example based on inverse cosine transformation. So as you see in the screen, the question is given that find f of x if its Fourier cosine transform is e raised to minus as, and its solution is goes as f of x equals to under root 2 by pi integration in the limit 0 to infinite f of x f of s cos sx dx, which is equals to under root 2 by pi integration in the limit 0 to infinite e raised to as cos sx dx. As we know that the formula integration e raised to minus ax cos bx ds, which is equals to e raised to ax by a square plus b square, which is in bracket is a cos bx plus b sin bx. So here a is equals to minus a and b is equals to s. By putting this and comparing, we get f of x, which is equals to under root 2 by pi in bracket e raised to minus as by a square plus s square s sin x minus a cos sx in the limit 0 to infinite. By putting limits and solving further, we get final answer f of x which is equals to under root 2 by pi a upon a square plus x square. So this was all about Fourier cosine transformation. Now further part will be explained by my teammate Sarthak Bhatkar. Thank you.
So, good morning once again, everyone, and Dr. Tina Trivedi ma'am. My name is Sarthak Bhatkar, and the science serial number is 3. So, the topic I'm going to be pressing on is applications of Fourier transform. As you can see on the screen, there are radar cross section, aeronautical, spectroscopy, quantum mechanics, circuit analysis, image processing, geotechnical heat insulation, signal processing again, and filtering algorithms and nanobiotechnology. Next slide, please. So the Fourier analysis is a fundamental tool used in all areas of science and engineering. The FFT, or known as fast Fourier transform algorithm, is remarkably efficient, solving large problems. Near every computing platform has a library of highly optimized FFT routines. Now, if you have an editor software, there will be a library known as DFT or FFT, which means nothing but discrete Fourier transform or fast Fourier transform. Well, perhaps the most important use is of Fourier transform is to solve the partial differential equations. On the image listed down below, there's a hard problem we have, which is hard to solve or nearly impossible to solve. When we take a Fourier transform on it, it becomes an easy question, and we get an easy answer, and it's reverted back with the help of inverse Fourier transform, and we get the solution for the hard problem that we first faced. Next slide, please. Okay, so signal processing. Why have I choose signal processing after all? Now, Fourier transform is the most fundamental use is for filtering. Filtering in every field that I mentioned earlier, filtering has its job. Now, to understand it, I've chosen signal processing as a topic to explain to it. Now, the fast Fourier transform is extensively used in field of signal processing, as I explained. In fact, the Fourier transform is probably the most important tool for analyzing signal in the entire field. So basically, what is a signal? That's what I'm going to explain first. A signal is a waveform, function of time. This could be anything in the real world. An electromagnetic wave, voltage across the resistor versus time, the air pressure variance due to your speech, that is sound waves, or value of Apple stock versus time. Signal processing is the act of processing signal to obtain more useful information or to make signal useful. Next slide, please. So how can a signal be made better, or how can we increase its usefulness? So if we remove the distractions of something, it's going to be more useful. Now let me explain to you. On the image on the bottom left, there's an yellow frequency graph, okay? Now that graph is deconstructed and split into its pure frequencies down below. You can see a smooth blue, then yellow, and then all the way down, there's a harsh and there's a red type of frequency. Okay? What Fourier transform does is it transforms the pure signals or pure frequencies into its impulses. Now, we have all seen a flashy animation in the start of a project. There was a yellow colored flower petal design. Now, when that is further period into the time of graph, there will be a single point where all of the petals will align on each other perfectly. That is the impulse which is shown on the top right corner. Now, in the orange. So there are five impulses. Now, what we want to remove from this signal is, this is the audio signal, okay? What we want to remove is a high pitch frequency. Now, that high pitch frequency is targeted in a rectangle, vertical rectangle box, as you can see. Now, what filtering does is, it removes this frequency, which is high pitch hum in our sound, and we get the resultant, which is shown in the down below, the image below it. Now, this is a resultant where the high pitch frequency is being completely removed. Now, using inverse Fourier transform, it's reverted back to what its original state could have been without the high pitch frequency hum. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the second topic is radar cross section. Radar works by transmitting an electromagnetic wave from an antenna. The wave then bounces off some object and is returned, energy is measured. The amount of energy returned is a function of radar cross section of the object. The radiated far fields from a surface current are equal to Fourier transform of that current. If we estimate the fields radiated by an antenna, we can estimate the surface electric current induced on an object, such as an airplane. Okay. Then from these fields, we can determine the reflected power as a function of angle. In this way, RCS of objects can be determined particularly as they fly across the sky. This application is commonly in military. Now, what does this actually trying to say? This part is, the signal received by a pulse radar is a time sequence of pulses for which amplitude and phase are measured. Now, a technique called Doppler processing are based on frequency content of the signal. The frequency content of this time domain signal is then measured by taking its Fourier transformation, thus turning it into a frequency domain. From time domain, it became into frequency domain with the help of Fourier transformation. Now, this Fourier transform, the resultant carried out by the Fourier transform, is then used for contemplating by signal processing that which all objects are there in the way of the electromagnetic wave. Okay, next slide. So these are the various applications of Fourier transform for any math enthusiast. You can try them out. Gravity, magnetics, elasticity, heat conduction, wave propagation, etc. Then next slide, please. Image processing, as I said earlier, it's the main process that Fourier transform does is filtering. Now, what filtering is done in an image? There is something called as sharpening, or you can say smoothing, restoration, blur, and removal. Now, take the original image and the blurred image. It's restored back to its original one. How? By removing the part that we don't want. Now, there's a certain light coming at a certain distance. We don't want that. So we remove that using fast Fourier algorithm. The same is done with data processing and analysis, high pass, low pass band filters, cross correlation, transfer functions, coherence, signal, and noise estimation. In remote sensing course, we will use Fourier analysis to understand and evaluate antennas and telescopes as well as filter images. Next slide. So let's go back to the summary and trace back our steps to what we actually learned in this presentation. Now, the last thing that was explained by me was applications of Fourier transform. Before that, if we take a step back, there is cosine Fourier transform and its inverse explained by my friend Darshan. Before it, if we take two steps back, there's sine Fourier transform and inverse explained by Jeet. Three steps back, there is Fourier transform and inverse Fourier transform explained by my friend Pova. And four steps back, general explained properties, linear properties, change of scale property, shifting property, modulation theorem, convolution theorem. And if we go all the way to the start, we have a friend Harsh explaining who was Fourier transform, the difference between the Fourier series and Fourier transform. That is all. Thank you everyone for listening.